Dyer Productions present The Story Slot, traditional stories and fairy tales adapted by Grandle. The story in this episode is Little Red Cap by the Brothers Grimm.
Once upon a time, there was a sweet, kind little girl. She had lots and lots of friends. Her grandmother was very fond of her, and the little girl visited her nearly every day. One day, Grandmother gave her a little cap of red velvet, which the little girl loved so much that she would not wear anything else. And so, from that day, she was always known as Little Red Cap. One day, Red Cap's mother asked her to take some cakes and treats to Grandmother, who was not very well and had to stay in bed.
Be good and quiet, Little Red Cap. Walk nicely. Make sure that you stay on the path, otherwise you might hurt yourself or fall and spoil Granny's goodies. And when you get there, be sure to say good morning nicely, and don't mess about and waste time looking around. I'll be careful, Mother. I promise.
Grandmother lived in the wood, quite a long walk from the village. And as Red Cap entered the wood, she met a wolf. She did not know that he was a wicked wolf, so she was not afraid.
Hello, Little Red Cap. Where are you going so early?
I'm off to my grandmother's house.
What's that you're carrying with you?
I've got some goodies for Grandmother. Yesterday was baking day, so my mother has sent me with some cakes to make Grandmother feel better. She's not very well, you see.
Where does your grandmother live, Little Red Cap?
It's a good bit further into the wood. Her house is that one which stands under those large oak trees. I'm sure you must know where it is.
And the wolf thought to himself,
Oh, what a tender young creature. What a nice, plump mouthful. She will be much nicer to eat than the old woman. I must be clever, so that I can catch them both.
For a little while, he walked with Little Red Cap as she went on her way. Then he said,
Aren't these flowers pretty? Why don't you have a look around and listen to how sweetly the birds are singing? Don't hurry through the wood. Stay and enjoy it a while.
I suppose I could take a posy of flowers for Grandmother. It might help to cheer her up. And I still have plenty of time.
So Little Red Cap looked around to gather the prettiest flowers she could find. Soon she was far from the path. Meanwhile, the wolf ran straight to Grandmother's house and knocked at the door. Who is it?
It's Little Red Cap. I have goodies for you. Won't you open the door?
I am in bed. Come straight in, Little Red Cap. The wolf lifted the latch. The door flew open, and without a word, he devoured Grandmother. Next, he put on her nightdress, slippers and cap, lay down in her bed, and drew the curtains around the bed. Little Red Cap had gathered all the flowers she could possibly carry, and was now skipping up to the door. It seemed funny to Little Red Cap that it should be open. She said to herself,
I feel very uneasy. I usually feel only excited and happy when I come to Grandmother's.
She started towards Grandmother's bedroom, calling out,
Good morning, Grandmother.
But there was no answer. She went in and drew back the curtains. There lay Grandmother, with her cap pulled down very low and the covers pulled up very high. She looked very strange.
Grandmother, what big ears you have.
So much the better to hear you with, my little red cap.
But what big eyes you have.
The better to see you with, my dear.
But what large hands you have.
So much the better to hug you with, Red Cap.
What a huge mouth you have, Grandmother.
The better to eat you with, my dear.
And suddenly he leapt out of Grandmother's bed and ate up Little Red Cap in one fearsome gulp. He was full now, so he decided to lie down again and have a nice nap. Soon he was snoring very, very loudly. Just then, the Huntsman was passing by the house and thought to himself,
My, The old lady is snoring mighty loudly today. I know she is under the weather. I think I shall check if she needs anything."
But when the kind huntsman went into Grandmother's bedroom, he saw his old enemy, the wicked wolf. Just as he was about to fire his gun at the wolf and rid the villagers of the nasty beast, a thought occurred to him. If the wolf had perhaps just devoured the poor old lady, she might still be alive inside his stomach. So he took a pair of scissors and slowly cut open the snoring animal. He made 2 snips and saw the shining of the red cap. Another 2 snips, and she sprang out.
"Oh, Mr. Huntsman, I've been so frightened. It was so dark inside the wolf."
Another few snips, and out came Grandmother, alive but short of breath and quite unwell. Redcap fetched some large stones which they used to fill up the wolf's body. When he woke, he found that the stones were so heavy that he could not run away. He couldn't chase little children or old grannies any more for his supper, and the villagers didn't have to fear that wicked old wolf again. Grandmother ate the treats from Redcap's basket. She grew strong and well again, and little Redcap said to herself,
"From now on, when Mother tells me something, I shall listen and do as she says."
You've just heard the story of Little Redcap. Little Redcap and Mother were played by Layla Katib, the Wolf by J.D. Kelly, Grandmother by Jane Grandle, and the Huntsman by Pete Lutz. The narrator was Jane Grandle, who also adapted the story. The story slot was brought to you by J. Dyer Productions.